Okay, I guess I'm active. Hello. Good evening. Hi. I probably should have ran through some more tests, but I did not. And that is perfectly fine, because it seems like everything is working okay now. Hello. This is Benry Paints. I am considerably more tired than I was yesterday, our last stream. I hope you guys have all had a good weekend and all that fun stuff. I had to be up at 2:45 a.m. yesterday to help with election coverage for on-site technical contact, and I was out there until 8 p.m. And then I had to wake up early again today to go to work. And so I want to stream today, and I thought I had gotten myself enough sleep, but I think I was wrong. And all that means is that I am going to be a space case today. I am very tired. I am barely here mentally, but I want to paint. And so here I am, getting ready to paint. Yeah, hopefully I'll get to that in a second. But if I sound spacey, or if it sounds like I'm having a hard time just kind of existing right now, it is purely because I'm very sleepy. And this very sleepy man wants to paint. So that is what is happening today, I think. So let's go ahead and get things ready. I forgot to mute my mic because I forgot to turn on my mic. So that's how this stream is going already. But yeah, it's been pretty good. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the starting soon. Ha! I'm going to get rid of this wonderful image from Dark Volt, because he is an amazing artist, and I love the fact that there is fan art of me out there, and I'm very flattered by it. For those who don't know, that is me frantically panicking because of how fragile and sensitive and titchy Horus's Talon is from the Forge World model of Horus Ascending, Horus Ascended. And all I remember about it, because now it's been a couple years, is that there weren't really any markers on the model itself to be like, yeah, this is part 5, this is part 6. It was just like, here are all the claws, put them on the hand, it'll be fine. And that was also around the time that Mudung, the hippo, the baby hippo, pygmy hippo, was popular. And so Darkvolt was inspired to draw me at one of my weakest moments in what ended up being very funny, to be honest. But anyway, starting to see the image. Push out. Now it's on to the main camera, I believe. Main camera. Watcha! I didn't even check to see if chat works, but I'm assuming chat's working because I haven't seen anything saying otherwise. So I suppose we'll find out. I tried to change the camera angle a little bit compared to last time. And what I am doing today, I have done a little bit of work on the Aeldari Corsairs, and they're kind of at a point where the base coat is done for their armor. And so now I am working on their like accoutrements, which is very slow going because I'm very hesitant about how to do them, but they're going to turn out fantastic because I say so. But right now, what I'm doing is, like this guy here is going to have black armor, and they're going to have a purple sash and purple cloth, because whereas most of the characters are going to be kind of Kiryu coated with the white. Come on, please. Please, camera? Camera, I'd love for you to focus there. No? The camera does not want to focus on him because I think he's just too bright. But anyway, well, they're very white, and they have, like, red accoutrements. They have red accents. I decided that the jump guys, because they're a little more wild, because they're a little more feral, they're going to have mainly black outfits with purple accents and gold accents, because they're going to be Majima. So we have Kiryu with the white and the red, and we're going to have Majima with the black and the purple and the gold. So that's kind of what I was working on before I went upstairs to eat my dinner, and that's what I'm going to continue working on today. And I think that's just kind of how it's going to go. Now, the other thing is I really haven't tested the vision too well, but I think that looks okay. So right now, I'm just kind of doing some very basic layering and just building up towards a much more vibrant purple, because I have a really good purple that I bought from Pro-Acryl. It's just a matter of building up to it, because I don't want to start with it. So until then, I've got kind of this very dark blue going on, which I think I might have already done on this model. But that's okay. I'll just do it again. It'll be fine, I'll just do it again. But yeah. And I don't know how talkative I'm going to be today, because, like I said, I'm quite sleepy. So this might just be a super chill, super sleepy, super chill and sleepy stream. But what I think is kind of neat is that because of a combination of getting better brushes, and also just kind of learning a little more about light placement, is that I am getting better at doing some of that stuff on here. Okay, now here's the fun one. How the frick do I get this shoulder pad? I think it's going to be this way. And I think I've mentioned this before, but something with shadowing and highlighting is that you kind of just got to keep doing it until you learn it, because eventually you'll start developing an eye for where the highlights look good versus where they don't. And that's kind of what happened to me. I'm not going to claim that I'm great at light placement yet, but I feel like I'm better than I was 2 years ago simply because I keep trying to do it. And every time it turns out wrong, your eyes kind of see that it turns out wrong. And that way your eyes will eventually recognize when it turns out right. And that will kind of encourage you to get it more right next time. Without, you know, beating yourself up over it. That's kind of where I am right now. So that guy's going to go down. I have already forgotten that I did not paint the scales on him, because I definitely did for a bunch of other guys. Like this guy right here. His shoulder scales are definitely very painted. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just going to lead to a slightly more diverse cast. I think my original plan, and I might go back to that, is since Majima wears that snakeskin jacket, is going ahead and making it so that the scales on a lot of these guys has that snakeskin pattern of like gold and black. And the more I think about it, the more I kind of am finalizing that idea in my brain, that they're going to have kind of a gold yellow undertone, and then like the larger prominent parts are going to be the black snakeskin pattern that Majima has on his jacket. And I think that'll look great. I am kind of tickled that in the Yakuza franchise that they spent a lot of time trying to find a successor to Kiryu, and a character that people would like to replace him, to the point of making, I think, like 2 games to it. And the answer was right there, because when they made Yakuza 0, people pretty immediately, fell in love with Majima as a character. And they ended up really liking him a lot, because his story was very well written, and his character was very well written, and Hidenari Ugaki did some incredible voice work for him. And so they just kind of unfortunately, he's kind of the same age as Kiryu, if not a little older, I think. So they couldn't really use him as a successor to Kiryu, because they'd be replacing one guy who was aging out with another guy who was aging out. But it doesn't matter. They managed to do all sorts of fun, not so fun things to the franchise, and now we're just gonna wait and see where it goes from there. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about the Aeldari Corsairs. I think I also talked about this last stream, where my understanding of them is that they basically decided that the original discipline required of the craft worlds was too much for them, and they did not like it. And so they left the craft worlds in pursuit of more freedom, which is definitely a thing to do. But they also just kind of fight everything. And I know that Warhammer's not supposed to have any quote-unquote good guys or whatever, but they definitely have that thing of like, we will kill and plunder anyone we see. Though I'll be completely honest, I know next to nothing about them beyond that. I think that this fur part, is also going to end up being purple. And I think that'll create a fun contrast compared to the gold and black that's eventually going to be the rest of those scales. So yeah, beyond that, I know literally nothing. Oh boy, I like this song a lot. I know literally nothing about the Aeldari Corsairs. I think They're made up of basically any Eldar that didn't want to be a part of any group. So, like, it looks like there's some Drukhari in the midst based on how their helmets look. Though I'm really not sure. I would have to have someone who knew more about the Aeldari Corsairs come in and kind of enlighten me about what they actually are. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm probably teasing this too much. There it is. That's probably fine. That's good. I don't know what I want to do with the wings, though. Because they're really big, and I don't want to keep them this monotone color. I think there needs to be some shock of color to go along with these models. So I'm not quite sure what I want to do with the wings yet. Because I think on the original Aeldari Corsairs model, they're kind of the same color, and they've got like the ivory, this part is ivory, and this part is the same color as their armor. And I don't know if I want to do that. I think I might. I think I'll go ahead and do this as a black, and then I don't know what to do that. Potentially a purple? But would the purple be too bright? I don't know. I suppose it's something I'll have to figure out at some point. But tonight is not that night. It might end up becoming tonight, but right now, I'm not really sure. Okay. I think it's really impressive how much the dark blue I'm using right now as the shadow color completely overwhelms the purple in the case of this paint. Because there is a dark blue in here. It's one that I've started to use a lot because I think it's a really good deep blue color. But there's also a purple in here, and it is absolutely dominating the purple. Like, you can't even tell. It just made everything kind of a lighter blue when I put in that purple, since it is a lighter color. Okay. The good news is, hey Shiny Mew Paints, I am very much alive. Just barely today though. I'm utterly exhausted. I had to wake up at 2:45 yesterday, 2:45 in the AM, because I volunteered to be on-site technical contact for the special election that Virginia had about redistricting. And I was there until 8 AM, and then I went and did my day job, and then I went back there from 5 to 8 PM. And then I did the job, my normal job today, and I thought I had recovered enough, but apparently I was wrong. So, like, my energy levels are way low. And so that just means I'm really sleepy. And so if I come across as a bit spacey or sleepy, that's why, because I am very spacey and sleepy today. And what I'm doing right now, I'm painting some Aeldari Corsairs. And I'm doing them in the style of Kiryu and Majima from the Yakuza franchise. And one of them has a really strong, like, white and red aura. And the other has, or like motif, and the other has a really strong black and purple motif. So, like, these guys who jump in and they do the violence very suddenly and very rapidly, they're getting the Majima, because Majima is a scrungly little bean who jumps in and does the violence very, very rapidly. Kiryu, on the other hand, he's very methodical. He's very dignified, so that's not really a reason why he's not this, but I just wanted to be there a little more color variety than just white and red over and over again. And I think this is turning out okay. I think purple and black is a really strong color combination, which is why they chose it and why I'm choosing it. But right now, I'm just kind of doing a basic, like, dark blue shade, and then I'm going to highlight it up with a purple. And I'm going to try and not to forget to do these armbands, because I keep forgetting to do them. But given how black this guy's color armor is, having any pops of color is going to make it much more vibrant. So how have you been? I know you've been posting a decent amount on the Discord, and you've been doing a lot of stuff with Blender, if I recall right. And you posted some gameplay footage, and you posted some models because you've been continuing your model journey, your mini painting journey. And I was glad to see that, even if I didn't the one you just mentioned blow himself up in one of the Yakuza games. Yeah, They both did, I think. I know Majima did, but it was fine. He got better. He didn't really hurt himself. From what I know, he actually didn't really hurt himself. Like, they definitely have that... Yes, this is my favorite song of the Yakuzas. This is some amazing battle music. But, like, they show him snip the wire, and then you see the kaboom, and then he's okay, and everything's fine. And, Kiryu, apparently just won't job to anyone, and he's just unbeatable. And they're just gonna keep dragging out his story for forever and ever. Though it does seem like they've been trying to figure out a way to give him a suitable kind of send-off. Oh yeah, Majima had scrungly little guy armor. That's like Majima's whole thing. Until they made him a really sympathetic character in Zero. And then he had tragic scrungly little guy armor because it recontextualized him as a character. And made him far more interesting and fun for fans to latch onto. Because we find out Majima's not just a lunatic, he's a guy who had a deeply troubled past that uses the lunatic as a way to not have to feel bad things anymore. And as his life slowly gets better, the lunatic part starts to fall away, and he just kind of becomes a good dude. And I think that's a really cool, unintentional / intentional character development for what was originally just kind of an evil psycho character in the original games. And I also think it's really funny that Mark Hamill played him in the original dub of Yakuza, and that Mark Hamill has no recollection of playing him in the original dub of Yakuza. Because Mark Hamill was also the Joker. So one of the best depictions of the Joker also voiced one of the first depictions of Majima. And that's silly. Okay, I think I might have actually gone over this with the lighter color already, so now I'm kind of working backwards and making life hard on myself. Oh yeah, that's right, I didn't do the feathers. So one of the worst things about trying to get any degree of detail like this is you gotta have a good brush for it, and you gotta have the control. And I have a decent brush, but I am severely lacking in the control today. Like, everything's not quite a blur, but it's definitely getting there. And so my hope is that I can keep it together long enough. Yeah, Mark Hamill is amazing, and that's kind of the fun of it. That's why I was hoping that he remembered and he had fond memories of being, like, in that first game, but when someone called him out on it, was like, hey, do you remember being in this? He was like, I have no idea who that is. And I do think it's also kind of neat that the person who ended up taking over for Mark Hamill, who voiced Majima in when they started doing American or English dubbing again, was Matt Mercer. So Majima has only been played by W's, because Hidenari Ogaki is very enthusiastically Majima, and he seems to be a really good guy. And then Mark Hamill played him, who by and large is a pretty good guy. And then Matt Mercer played him, who by and large is a pretty cool guy. So it was just cool guy after cool guy after cool guy playing our little scrungly weirdo Majima. And there's that's a good place to be in with a character, I think. Though I do have to be honest, his Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii game was remarkably lackluster in a lot of ways. And you can definitely feel the wheels starting to come off the bus with Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And that makes me sad, because I want to like those games. But that one just felt like they were just throwing stuff at a wall. Because that one just had very silly plot that was nonsensical and went way too into the whimsy, which they lampshaded a lot across the game, which didn't make the jokes any funnier. It just made it feel more like, oh, you guys know this is dumb, but you're going with it anyway. Which stinks, because there was a lot to like about that game, and they did a lot of fun little things. But I would not recommend buying Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii unless you could get it for less than full price, because it's not worth the full price unless it's like your first Yakuza game. Markel's probably playing it because, you know, Majima. I think possibly. I mean, he was also just a really big voice actor, a prolific voice actor in the late 90s, early 2000s. So he was probably just taking jobs as they came to him. And yeah, Majima has always been kind of the weird wild card, so that probably didn't hurt at all either. Okay. So what's really weird to me is this purple I bought, it actually looks almost like a pink, depending on the color, or how the light hits it. And so that's what I was kind of worried about, is that this was going to come across as too much of a pink compared to what purple should look like, because it's a very bright purple. And I don't think that was my intention when I got it. But that's okay. Oh, maybe it'll just come across as like a neon. I'm not exactly sure. I do say one of my favorite things about these Aeldari Corsairs is that they have an absolutely incredible sense of motion about them. And I feel like that's hard to nail. And that's what Games Workshop got really right. Because like this guy, it depends on the angle you look at him at, but he's doing a really cool pose. Good morning. Hey Red, how's it going? It's been a long time since I've seen you. I'm sleepy. Yesterday I was up at 2:45 and I haven't really recovered yet. So if I seem a little flighty, that's why, because I am a little flighty. I'm quite tired. And so I'm painting because I want to paint, and I'm streaming because I said I was going to stream. So that's kind of what's happening right now. Is I'm using the last reserves of my energy to do this before I probably go upstairs and faceplant in the bed next to my wife. Though she encouraged it because she knows that I've wanted to stream for a while, and I wanted to get back to it because I miss streaming and I miss you guys. And so that's what's happening right now. Is I am surviving and trying to... Been busy getting ready for a con on Cardiff on Saturday. That's very cool. I hope it's fun, and I hope you have a really good time. And I hope it's really fun, and that you have a good time. I've been wanting to go back to cons. I'm kind of sad because it turns out that like one of the big cons nearby, or that's relatively close to me, they apparently like did the weird thing where they fired all of their staff and tried to act like nothing happened. And so I don't really trust that con anymore. And that's sad because it's like the closest Warhammer con or top tabletop gaming con to us where I live, because it's in Northern Virginia and I'm in Southwestern Virginia. So you got your dwarf army painted up, which you're taking. Very cool. I hope you have a lot of fun with them. I've spent an inordinate amount of time painting Blood Bowl minis since we last talked. And yeah, I really don't have anything else to add to that, but I've been painting an exceptional amount of minis that I've done for money. Check Discord after that brush load. Okay. But yeah, I've done a very large amount of minis, and for a little while I honestly thought I was getting burnt out because I wasn't having fun anymore, and I was pretty much just doing them for the money. And then I realized, no, I just don't like painting a ton of minis to adequate levels of detail. I like painting minis to extreme obnoxious levels of detail, and I like focusing in on like 1 or 2 minis and really working the details on them, because I got to paint the Vespid kill team and the guy wanted them at like tabletop plus level, and so I had to really go hard on them, and I realized I had a whole lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. Okay, let's see what kind of pictures we got going on. Okay, we got some really cool pictures from Shiny Mew Paints. They've got a lot of 3D models, it looks like. And then we've got ones from Red. So let's see what Shiny Mew Paints has got on here. I don't know if I can I do these? Open image link. Okay, that's one way to do it. Open image link. You gave him some fun legs. Open image link. You do like your avatar shapely, don't you, Shiny Mew Paints? There's nothing wrong with that. But it is a very consistent preferred body type for you, it looks like. And that's kind of neat. But one moment, let me figure this out. Let me figure this out. It's been a minute since I've had to do this, so I've completely forgotten where like everything on my whatchamacallit is. Why is it still showing that? Also not visible? No, that's not what I want. Oh, that's why, because that's the slideshow stuff that I don't care about. Window capture. Quom? No, not Quom. Quom? That'll work. Okay. And where is this? Boom? There we go. So that's one thing that Shiny Mew Paints did. And there's another. And there's another. Is that supposed to be a Freddy? No, that's not supposed to be a Freddy. There's another. And there's another. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, and I almost completely lost their head. And I thought they were just a torso that was missing a head. And there's another. And that one's got very strong Task Manager vibes by the color scheme to me. And there's another. Looking like a Pokemon. I could be wrong, it's been a while. And there's another. Those are the cool things that Shiny Mew Paints has done. And those are going to go away for a second as I pull up the other ones. And then after this, I'm going to go back to painting. I don't have enough mental energy to go back and forth between like showcases and painting. So I won't be able to entertain too many more of these, if any at all. What I do need to do is pop all of these away so we can look at the dwarfs. That's a lot of dwarfs. That it's a Gardevoir. That's right. Okay. There's the dwarfs. Look at all these dwarves. That is a huge number of dwarves. That's something that I always liked about Warhammer Fantasy, and something why I kind of wanted to get into Old World. And then we got this dwarf. God, I love the look of those dwarves. I love dwarves with giant beards that are like their entire torso. I love dwarves with the Norse helms. Looks really good. There's his butt. You did a really good job on the weathering of that canvas. And there's some dwarves. It looks like a smith. Oh, that's just a cool model. I'm gonna have to show these to my friend because he loves the Old World and he loves how game PC everything looks. He actually hates the way that models are going, where they're like statuettes instead of game pieces. And there's a top-down picture of him. I really like the heated metal look you got on there. And there he is putting it in the forge. These are fantastic. You guys have both done awesome work, and I think it's really friggin' cool. Thank you very much for sharing, guys. Those were really cool. I enjoy seeing modeling because I'm not good at it, and so when I see people who are good at it, it's really fun to see. And I enjoy seeing dwarves because I like dwarves. So that worked out for everyone. I got to see dwarves, I got to see modeling, and you guys got to have your stuff on stream. So that was very cool. Thank you again for sharing. Do you do all of that in Blender, Shiny Mew Paints? Because all I know is Blender. I know ZBrush is a thing, but I don't know ZBrush very well. And I know it's really expensive, but Blender is free 50. It is 100% free and you don't have to pay for it. Da-da-da-da-da. And so I prefer the Blender. Okay, this is another one. Oh wow, I'm just getting banger after banger with these songs. This is one of like the climactic fight songs from Yakuza 6, where Kiryu with his new band of friends storm Millennium Tower because there's a bad guy like squirreled up at the top of it and they need to take him down. And so this song plays as they start their long fight up the Millennium Tower. And I just think it's really cool. It's got that really great driving beat. It's got that great guitar behind it. Just an overall very good song. Makes me want to hit things. 3,000 points just finished over the overspilled them, and I'm doing Votan right now. Very cool. I really wish that I had kept my Votan, but at the same time I kind of don't, because I made them as a meme, and I made them all Among Us. And if I were going to do Votan, I'd want to just play Votan, though I would almost definitely get custom bits for their heads, because the one thing the Votan were missing to me when their helmets were off were massive beards. Because I know this is not true about all dwarves, But to me, dwarves should have massive beards. And the fact that they don't is kind of disappointing and makes them less dwarf-like in my eyes. They need to have crazy facial hair and extreme capitalism. So I would probably 3D print custom bits to make sure that they had extreme capitalism and big old beards. Because they actually already had the extreme capitalism. They did a really good job re-envisioning the squats and turning them into, you know, just the worst kind of people. Okay, and this was going to go right here because the way the light is hitting them, it's kind of going down. So I want that to be like that. Just have a little bit of that going on. And if I remember right, yeah, their headband should be just a little bit of that. And I'm probably going to go back and clean all this up later because to make sure everything's on camera, I've actually got to keep my head positioned a little awkwardly. And that makes it very hard to really hit the details like I want to. But so far that looks pretty good, I think. Okay, and then the fur, because I think with the fur, I think making the fur purple as well is going to help this thing sell. Because I was either going to do purple or I was going to do like a plain white. But I feel like in this case, them looking more crazy and more extreme is going to be better for everyone involved. So that's what's going to happen here. Is they're going to go ahead and have extreme like neon purple highlights on their fur, which will really make it stand out against their black armor. Which admittedly the black armor ended up being a little dull. And that's because I think what I ended up doing, because I originally made them wear white armor, was I just went over it with a speed paint of black, and it created some really nice color depth, but it also flattened everything down because it is just kind of like a dark blue black. So I'm going to have to rely on the accent colors to pull these models, and they're very, very nice details up a little bit. But yeah, I'm honestly surprised that, well, not really honestly surprised, it's just because it's another niche game. But I haven't actually seen a whole lot of stuff for Old World at my local game store, at either of them. I think they're struggling to get anyone to play anything but 40k, and a little bit of Age of Sigmar, because I know they've been trying to get a Horus Heresy group started, but they just haven't really gotten, very, very much traction with it. And that sucks for them, because these games look super neat. So yeah, what's going on? Why is it telling me I've got... Oh, okay. That's because someone else is streaming. Are they not? Yes, they are. They just started streaming actually a little bit after I did. Okay. What am I doing? I'm grabbing this guy. So I'm just going to kind of continue working on these guys. I kind of can't wait to hear the playback for this because I'm pretty sure the tone of my voice is drastically different to what it normally is. I know that on the phone, at least, when I've been answering calls the past couple of days, they've clearly noted that I sound different. And it's just because I'm so tired. And they've been concerned, like, you know, Ben, are you okay? And I've had to be like, yeah, I'm fine. I just haven't slept well. And it's starting to affect my my speech patterns a little bit. But that's okay. Yeah, it's really... I think I might have to buy a new purple, because even though this is a really cool color, it's pink. This purple looks like a pink. At least it does to me. And I don't want that. I want to have like a deep, rich purple. You know what I mean? I used to have one with Vallejo, but I don't know where it is. Okay, I'll have to look at those in a minute. I just loaded the brush back up, so I'll go ahead and do that in a second. because right now I'm really focused on trying to get these guys painted up. I've got to finish them before June because of a competition, and I have not been making the progress I've wanted to. So I'm trying to grab any sense of momentum I can and run with it, because they've been kind of sitting like this now for a week, and I feel bad because I thought I had like a huge amount of inspiration. This was all going to look awesome, and while it is looking good, the inspiration is kind of petered out, and so I'm finishing this. I'm trying to find it again by working on them and seeing the vision come to life. Because what's going to happen is if I finish this combat patrol, I'm going to be entered in a draw, and that draw will be to win an 11th edition launch box. And I would love to not have to pay for an 11th edition launch box. And the other half to that is that because I chose an army with a battle force, I'm also being entered in a draw to win the battle force, and so that would mean I'd have more of these guys. Though to be completely honest, I don't want more of these guys, so I would probably just sell that and use it to buy something I want. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. There he is. There's your call. Gotta love that purple and gold, man. Purple and gold's a good color of things, you know, with that kind of English going on. Yeah, see, as much as I love the 40k character designs, and as much as I love how just incredibly detailed they are, I will say the one thing that that does get me is, especially after seeing those dwarves, is I want them to go back to the game piece look with the giant proportions and the like. And yeah, yellow could be a pain. What I found though is that if you do a yellow, if you take a speed paint yellow and paint it over your finished yellow, it'll help unify everything really nicely. And I did that on accident, because I did that on some Terminators, and it turned out great, and I was like, wow, that was a really good idea, Ben Repaints. You should do that more often. So that's going to be my recommendation to you, because, give me a second, like, this guy is Averland Sunset, and then I used a speed paint on him. And something else I love is that he has custom Imperial Fist bits, as you can see. And that just makes me so very happy. I really like these models, and I can't wait for them to die on the tabletop. So that's going to happen eventually. So here's their captain, or their sergeant. And see, look, he's got some really cool stuff on him. I love the Imperial Fist bits. He's got Imperial Fist hips. He's got an Imperial Fist shoulder. He's got an Imperial Fist chin. Yeah, I used Aerial and Imperial Fist contrast. That's a good idea, too. I think I ended up using... I didn't use Aerial Yellow. What I did was I used another yellow that I got from Army Painter. I'm going to mute real quick because I'm going to go ahead and blow my nose. This is starting to bug me. Okay, I'm back. You guys don't need to hear me sniffle. That's obnoxious, and I would hate for the mic to catch that. Okay, so we're back to using this guy again. And it looks like I did more on him than I thought I did, because I thought I hadn't even started painting him. But we're just going to do a little bit more pink, a little bit more of a highlight, explicitly to bring that out. There we go. And then a little bit more on here, because that deserves a little bit of attention. Oh yeah, they've got a bandana on too. They got a headband. So we're going to go ahead and hit that headband too. Yeah, the Imperial Fist contrast, I don't understand. I don't know how they managed to get such a nice, rich yellow in the Imperial Fist contrast. And I distinctly remember, I found a Darcy Bono instructional video on how to paint with the Imperial Fist contrast. And I painted some minis with it, and I remember thinking at the time, these are way too rich. I don't like this color. I want it to be more grimdark. I want their yellow to be a lot more dull and beaten down by like the war and of the hammers. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I really like high contrast. I really like saturation. And so I
everything I've been painting since then has been high saturation. Like my Death Guard and my Sisters of Battle. And like my favorite red is now one of the most saturated reds you could find. And it's just like, well, I guess I was wrong. I guess I do like the saturation. Because it just makes everything pop so much more. And I think that's pretty great. Because when everything's kind of dull, it makes it all blend together. And I don't like looking at that as much. Okay. So I'm going to hit that. And I think... I don't know how well you guys are seeing this, but it's not really important. It's just a headband. Okay, there we go. And so now... we can just continue to very delicately get all the high spots on this with this purple, this alleged purple. And this is where having a really nice pointed brush helps. I do not have a nice pointed brush. This brush has been put through the ringer. And thankfully it was not very expensive, so that's perfectly okay. It's fine, but yeah, we're just kind of going through, giving him this nice purple highlight to go alongside the black armor. Eventually I'll go back and do the guns, and eventually I'll go back and do the swords. But right now, I'm just getting the cloth down, because I'm trying to do like a badge fade. That's the wrong way. I'm going the wrong way. I already did that one. I'm just trying to get this done. Okay. But yeah, like, look at all these models. These guys have such great poses going on. And I think it's funny because I feel like the publicity photos that they have for these models, they don't really do them just, you're going to head off, it's coming to 1 a.m. Yeah, go to sleep. Enjoy your sleep, okay? Don't do what I did. Don't be awake at 2 a.m. Go to bed, buddy. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Have a good one. Enjoy your con. And you can tell me how it is later. Okay. Back to what I was doing. I am doing purple highlights on their cloth, on their accessories, on anything I can, and the whole point is to just kind of make it so that I have this nice deep contrast in like their black armor with the purple highlights, because they're supposed to be Majima themed from Yakuza, as opposed to the Kiryu themed ground troops I have, because I feel like between the two, Majima would be more about dropping in and committing violence, whereas Kiryu would be a little more methodical. At least that's how my brain sees it. I don't know how true that is. I do know that they're both capable of committing incredible acts of violence. That's kind of their whole thing. But I see Majima being the one that wants the jetpack. You know what I mean? Wants the wings, wants to look absolutely crazy. Though if I had to make a an entire Yakuza themed 40k army, I have no idea what I would translate each of those characters to. Okay. I think I've mentioned it, but all I'm really doing is getting the edge highlights to give this more of that purple highlight, because it started at a dark blue, and then it moved up to a mid blue, and now it's kind of at the highlight of the purple. But this really this reads so much more as a pink to me than a purple. That's okay. And I think after these guys are done, I might go back and work on the accessories, or I might look at the ground troops, because I gave them their red accents. They're in like a light gray armor, almost a white, and their accents are, their cloth and whatnot is very red. And I guess I could go back and paint some of the other accessories black, and that would help with it. At this point, it is really about just trying to draw out as much contrast as possible, so that when photos and photos, when photos are taken of this army, it really stands out against whatever backdrop the photographer puts out for them. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see, he's got a leather strap here, which is also going to be this purple. And he's got a leather strap here, and then I think I indicated that I made like the big shocks of cloth. I made those, yeah, like this thing. I made that purple, and I think the rest of it is going to be like a dull gold yellow, and then the highlights of the scales are going to be black, and that's going to emulate Majima's snake skin. So I think that's where I'm going to go with that. And I think in terms of the blades, I don't remember the name of his knife, but I'm going to try and make them look like Majima's knife. So they're going to have like the black hilt and the really good silver blade. And I'll just have to get some reference shots of that and figure out how to paint that stuff. Because I've gotten halfway decent at doing power swords through an airbrush, but power swords have kind of a different lighting effect on them. So we'll have to see how that looks. And there we go. Now he's got shocks of purple on him. So that's going to be okay. I might have to go up a little further with that. Maybe to a light purple? Maybe even to a pink? I don't know. I was kind of hoping for more of a deep, rich purple. Wash that off. Okay. Go ahead. Get some of that. Now, I did mention that I really wanted to play Look Outside on stream. And that was the plan up until I remembered that I had to do like multiple things that will have me working late into the evening. And then it was just like, okay, that plan's gonna have to be scuttled for at least 1 week. So unfortunately, no Look Outside streams this week. Because I've got council tomorrow, which means I have to sit in and preside for council and provide emergency technical support should it appear, manifest. And then it's going to be Friday, and I want to spend Friday with QB, my partner. So there will be no more streams this week. Only the one. Kind of stinks because I was all excited about streaming tonight or yesterday night. I was all excited about being like, yeah, I'm going to stream, and I'm going to get 2 Tuesdays in a row, and I'm going to start a new trend, and it's going to help me get back on the streaming wagon. And that didn't happen, but that's okay. I'm here now. Though I gotta say, it was kind of fascinating hearing some different opinions about the redistricting effort in Virginia. And it's kind of wild to me where we are with politics nowadays. And it does make me sad. But that's neither here nor there right now. Suffice to say, I'm pretty darn happy with the results. I'm about as happy as a person could be at watching their country slip further into like weirdness. Okay. There we go. That's going to be some kind of purple, I guess. I will say the lighting is definitely making this look pretty good, because the high contrast lighting is kind of really forcing these colors to pop, and that's definitely not a bad thing. Okay, let's take that very gently. There we go. And oh man, I forgot he's got an armband. I got to do the armband. So I keep missing these little armbands they have with these little gems, and it stinks because they're a great little pop of color amidst this very monotone body armor situation they've got going on. So being able to hit that is definitely important because it's breaking up kind of the monotony of their black armor, right? And that's a good thing. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And hit some of that. And I think this might still be too wet, so I might actually have to skip up. And again, yeah, I really could just do the snakeskin on a lot of this. That's freaking neato. It's unfortunate I don't know how to paint snakeskin. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to figure it out, and then it's going to look really good, or it's going to look really bad, but I won't care because I'll think it looks really good. And honestly, that's all that matters. Just be happy with your own results, okay? Anyone who's painting out there, just remember, you're not competing against anyone. You're painting to have fun. And part of having fun is going to be doing jobs that you're super proud of that, you know, someone else might not think is that great. But you know what? It's your personal best. It's something you really like. So keep that in mind as you paint. As you are painting for yourself, these are your armies, and you're going to have fun with them. One of my favorite running jokes for a while was just being like, well, when someone else does it their way, then they can do it the way they want to. You know, like if someone looks at your paint job, like, yeah, I wouldn't have highlighted it that way. It's like, well, when you highlight your stuff, then you can highlight it the way you want to. And I know that's a bit belligerent, but at the same time, if people are going to give unrequested criticism and try and make you feel bad about the work you're doing, then they can go pound sand. Okay? Don't let people make you feel bad for your paint jobs. Unless, you know, you're painted hate speech on your stuff, or just stuff that you know is not in good taste. Okay. So, what I believe I'm going to do is, and this is going to be weird, is since I used a speed paint on their armor, I'm not going to use a speed paint on their handles to make them stand out a little more, but I am going to use a speed paint on the wing framing, and then eventually I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to paint the, I think these might have to be purple too. So since I'm doing black and purple, it probably makes sense to make them all black and purple, doesn't it? Oh, this was a neat song. This was another we're scaling Millennium Tower song. Because in Yakuza 8, Kiryu is compelled to scale Millennium Tower. Again. But this time he's got a party of friends helping him. And they have this, honestly, pretty neat rendition of his theme playing as he does so. Though I will also say at this point, Kiryu's story has gone on for long enough. And I'm glad that it's finally coming to an end. Okay, so that's going to be black. And I think what I'm going to do is, for the frame of this, it's also going to be black. And that'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to do this. And I'm putting just a little bit of blue in the black, because that prevents it from just being like a flat monotone shade of black. It gives it just a little bit more depth, and makes it a little more visually interesting to look at. So that's kind of my rationale why I want to do that. Some people don't. Some people just want that straight black, and that's also perfectly fine. Because, as I just said, it is your model, and you can do what you want with it. Okay, I'm gonna paint that, paint that. And I think, once again, I'm going to go ahead and stick with the purple motif. And I'm going to paint the inner part of that gun like a good, nice, glowy purple. And that's going to make it really stand out, because that purple is so bright and rich that it's going to definitely do things against the rest of the black frame of the gun. That's going to look real good. What's not going to look good is how I have part of the gun painted with a more black-dominated blue-black, and the other part with a blue-dominated blue-black. Let's go ahead and fix that as best we can. And I think this is going to actually end up being another part that needs to be repainted when I can actually get a better look at the guy. Okay, so... looks okay. He's got him gun painted. He can go over here. And I forgot that this is the leader model. And I forgot this leader model looks really freaking cool. I think the leader model looks really freaking cool. I think the leader model's hair is also going to be black. So I'm just going to really glom it on here, not worrying too much about details, just as long as I don't mess up their headband. And that way, I can build up from that black into whatever color I want. I'm not sure what that's going to be off the top of my head, but I'll figure it out. Now, did they do that to her hair to make it look like barbed wire? I don't know. Let's see, yep, there we go. Get a little bit in the undercut, the under part of it, get a little bit in the upper part of it. Okay, so that got that part. Anything I missed, I'll hit over with something else later when I can look at it a little better. Now it's time for her scalp, I think. Which doesn't look like she has a whole lot of hair. One thing I always think is really cool that I want to learn how to do at some point is I want to learn how to do like the scalp 5 o'clock shadow stubble that much more skilled painters than I will give their models. And I just think it looks so good. Like in the area around her scalp where she's shaved her head, they might have little gray stubble that, oh man, that's really fuzzy. Why are you being so fuzzy? Is it really because she's so bright, or am I doing something wrong? Please? 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 Oh, the camera doesn't like this. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize the camera was so damn blurry. Camera, why are you being blurry? Okay, so what we're gonna do... we're gonna do a manual focus. That's really out. 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 Is it because I'm holding her too close? Oh man. Okay, put it back on autofocus. It's got a really good focus on my hand. Not so much on her. Does she need to be further back? This is a weird thing to have to try and do in the middle of a stream, ain't it? Okay, that's out of focus. That's out of focus. Yeah, I think it's just that she's so tiny. Let's zoom out a little bit. Focus. In focus. No, that didn't really help at all. That's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back into snap focus, and then we can just work from there. And we'll see how this goes. I tried zooming out the camera a little. We'll see if that worked. Hopefully my head will not appear in shot too often. That might be why it was getting out of focus, because I have the camera zoomed in since I'm using a cell phone camera. And while it does generally get pretty good picture, because of how I've got it angled, it's not doing too great a job tonight. She has a lot more hair than I thought she did. Because her hair actually swoops down to the side of her head. Like so. And I'll have to get all that and make it look real good. Okay. So what I think might have to happen is I'm going to have to reevaluate my camera setup, because right now I think, because I'm having to zoom, it's really sacrificing the image integrity. And that's not good. Because these painting things are definitely not helping you if you can't see anything. Okay, well, her hair is black, which definitely adds a whole new dimension to her physical profile. So hopefully that'll help a little as I continue painting her. Okay, let's see if I can get enough blue-black to make this work. Oh yeah, wow. Oh, so they've got this fencing basket. This handguard basket on there, which is pretty heckin' neato. And yeah, this is a case where I really don't need a whole lot of finesse with the paintbrush, so I'm going to use a fatter paintbrush that lets me get more coverage, because my hands are precise enough to not really hit anything I'm not supposed to. I guess the next big question was I able to catch that all on camera? I suppose we'll have to find out at a later date. Now this one's interesting, because this is a neural disruptor, I think it's called, which means that the gun has a lot more weird parts to it. It looks like it starts crystallizing around there. So what I might have to do is I might just hit the back part and touch up everything else a little bit later. Because it's definitely a case of like, yeah, there we go. And the rest of this is going to be cool gemstone colors, I suppose. Again, that'll be something that I investigate a little later as I learn more about how I'm doing this paint job. That's going to go over there. We're going to grab this one, bring this one up. And again, we go ahead and do a simple coat of this dark blue black, which will get touched up later, I suppose. And all I'm going to do is hit some of these aspects. Just enough to get the coat of black on it. And this is one of the regular Shredder Shuriken pistols that they have, so I can kind of hit a lot more of it. And that'll be fine. There we go. And there we go. And yeah, I'm not quite sure what the accent color on these are probably going to be. Potentially a bone color? Or maybe a gold? Go with the black and gold? Okay, that actually went quicker than I thought it would, and looks a whole lot better than I thought it would, so that one's going to be good to go. Okay, that can go over here. This one can go. And again, just tremendous posing, because it does look like he's launching off of that thing and is getting ready to move sideways in some kind of cool evasive maneuver. Okay. So once again, get some of that. I do also like that the blades, the weapons, are all slightly different. So like, instead of having 5 chain swords that all look like chain swords, they've got 5 different energy weapons that all have a slightly different look to the sword itself. And I think some of that is because I believe some of these guys are like Dark Eldar and others are not. And so that kind of changes the weapons that they come with, because the Corsairs are more of a loose alliance than they are a unified race with a unified armor setup and whatnot. But that would at the very least be my best guess as to why, like, his saber looks different than the last one. I don't know. Okay, so that one, again, very rapidly done. I gotta figure out what color gemstones to give them to. I think it might be that a really bright cerulean blue, and that'll be kind of the unifying color that I'm going to use across them and the ground troops. Everyone's going to get that bright blue gem, which means I'm going to have to redo the blue gem that I did, or the blue eye lenses that I did for my Arseth. I mean, they still need to get done a little up anyway, because I definitely didn't finish them, but, you know, just something I'm thinking about. Okay. Go ahead and do this, and actually, now that the shoulder pad has dried, I can see that I did not get a very good shoulder, or like bicep highlight. So that's what I'm going to move in and do now. Let's just very gently do it like that. Same thing here, just very much. There we go. And that's all that really needs. It's just a really simple little highlight to try and show that there's some reflection of the color that we're trying to go for in there. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's way too wet. Okay. Something to remember, guys, is make sure your brushes aren't too wet. Make sure they're not too loaded down with water, or else they're not going to hold any paint, and that's no good. Like that right there, that almost went on like a speed paint because there's too much water in the brush and not enough pigmentation. And it waters down the paint, it makes it real runny, makes it real hard to use. Okay. There we go. There we go. And I think that's everything, though I did accidentally go over a little bit, but that's fine. Because I could just take the brush and that's about as clean as it's going to get. That's perfectly a-okay. Now the next thing, what do I want the next thing to be? Probably their gems, shouldn't it? I should probably do their gems. Either that or their eyes. I think it's going to be their gem. Nope, you know what? I don't know. I'm hemming and hawing because I'm really not sure where to go next with them. And I didn't really come into this too prepared other than knowing that I wanted to do more. And I think right now I made this one way too wet. That one a little bit back there. And what I can do is I can actually touch up the rest of this with the black paint that I was using. And that's probably going to end up being gold. I think that's what I'll do for that. Okay. Put it right here. Yeah, probably ought to hit that a little too. Okay, and then... Oh man. No. I'm not gonna use that. That one's not gonna give me enough paint attention. There we go. Cleaned it up. Okay, so that should be good. Get a little bit more of that with the paints. And again, this is all stuff I can clean up later, especially since the black paint is my base. It won't be too bad if I paint over it just a smidgen. Okay, that can go back. This one can come up. This one can go right here. Just a little bit like that. That'll be good. But yeah, I actually played a little bit more. I was talking about it earlier and I kind of meandered off, but I was playing a little bit of Look Outside today and yesterday while I was at the voting station. And I guess it kind of stumbled me into update 2.3, which is the big one. And I'm always impressed with the work that Frankie does, because that game just feels more expansive every time I kind of boot it up after a big update. And so I'm wondering how long Frankie Smiles is going to keep that up before they fully move on to their next game, because it feels like it's only been a year, and it feels like there have been such massive updates to Look Outside, and it feels like there's still more that need to come. So I suppose there are, and I suppose we'll see. But I am very excited to basically start a brandy new game and show off what Look Outside is to people who have not seen Look Outside, because there's a lot to it. And it's incredibly good, and it presents a very fascinating world. At least I think so. So I'm excited to share that with anyone else who might be interested in seeing it. And I think that because it's an RPG, it lends itself pretty well to streaming as well. So we'll get to see all that become a thing. Okay, I'm actually going to let that dry because I might have gone a little bit too hard there. And I think what I'm going to do for the gems is they're going to be that dark blue that I'm using, and then I'm just going to bump it up to like a lighter blue, and then like a really bright cerulean blue for the highlights. And that should help quite a bit. At least that's the plan. Okay, so back to the pink for a second. Or the purple, not the pink, the purple. As I do like these little purple highlights to just read very deeply as pink. And it also looks like I probably ought to do that. Is my head getting in there? No. It looks like I really need to hit the feathers more too, because you can barely see the highlights on those, and I want those to be like tropical Stormbright. Ooh, it's Kooky. This is the name of the song. The name of the song is Kooky. And you hear the song a couple of times in like a Dragon Infinite Wealth because there's a recurring boss who I think is tied with my favorite boss from Yakuza 0 as the one that you encounter the most across a single game. And so it is kind of neat that he got some really banging soundtrack boss fight themes, because it's like a combination of their more driving electronic that they've had going on recently, but because he's like one of the few Japanese characters in Hawaii in Infinite Wealth, he gets that awesome koto behind all of it. And I think it's a really neat combination of things. And I just kind of started falling in love with his music the more I fought him. Because he definitely does have a wild soundtrack. And he's definitely a wild character. What was his name again? Why am I forgetting his name? Oh, it's because I'm really friggin' tired. His name is Yamai. And he's a good character. So, as always, I very strongly recommend playing Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I think they're fun, interesting, quirky games in a way that a lot of games that want to take themselves seriously are not. And I think that carries those games tremendously because they're by no means perfect, but they are highly entertaining. Okay. Next thing I think is going to be doing their gemstones and hitting all of their gemstones and then going back over with the very light blue that I want to do. So now I've just got to hopefully find all their gemstones and not miss one, because that's becoming a problem. I'm realizing my attention is slipping, and that's obviously not too good, but I'm also slippy, so very sleepy. I'm not even on screen. Now I'm on screen. So yeah, the gemstones are going to start with this really dark blue, and as the light catches them, where the light will catch them, it'll evolve into a considerably lighter blue. And I don't think that's a gemstone, but I'm going to treat it as one because it looks like a gemstone based on the rest of their color shape language. They have a whole lot of things on here that are not gemstones, and that's kind of weird and off-putting, but that's fine. Can't miss the one on his belt. There we go. I think that's all the gemstones on this lad, so we're going to say that's all the gemstones on that lad. That lad's gemstones are done. Now, one thing that did help, because you can see how spindly these guys are, and you can see how kind of top-heavy they are. One thing I will say that helped tremendously was putting a metal washer or a metal striker disc under their base, because I can magnetize it, which you can see I've done, and it's just there to provide some extra weight, which makes them a little less top-heavy. And for some models, like these guys with their very clearly overbalanced top to bottom aspect, it legitimately helps. So if I can recommend one gameplay hack for you guys, it is that you buy some 1/4-inch steel discs, striker plates, whatever you want to call them, blanks, and glue them to the bottom of your models, because they can be, if they're magnetized, then you can use them as magnets, as magnet plates, which is an incredibly useful thing to have. If you plan on transporting your minis, then having magnets is going to make that so much easier, so much better, in so many different ways. Okay, it might just be because of my eyes, but none of this looks like it's catching. It looks like it's trying and dulling immediately. So I'm going to stop messing with him, and I'm going to move on to the next one. And I think part of that is because Pro Acryl does advertise that their stuff goes down very matte, which is fair, because it means that means it's up to us to make the shine. Okay, same thing with you. You're going to get a blue right there. And get these wonderful blues right here. Okay. And you have a gem that's ever so slightly hidden behind your arm pauldron. And I'm counting this as a gem. I don't care. It's the same shape. You got one on your forehead. It is kind of funny to me because, again, I don't know a whole lot about the Eldar. I do know that they are kept in soul stones when they die, so they don't go back to Slaanesh and become consumed. But it is funny to me that they wear them so prominently on their armor, because I don't know if they actually provide any protection or anything, but it's like, here's the one thing that's going to prevent my soul from being consumed. Let's put it in the most vulnerable place possible, where people will be shooting at. But then again, it's kind of that rule of cool, I guess, because they have, like, giant mecha, and giant mecha are freaking awesome, but they're so horrifically inefficient as methods of motility and whatnot. And giving it a head is just silly, because having a giant target on the giant war machine is very dumb. And see, I don't know if it's, again, I don't know, I got these, didn't I? Yeah, I got all 3 of these. It's just drying really matte. I guess that's a good thing. Okay, so you're gonna go down. I'm gonna grab you. Now, the one thing that I keep forgetting is that the helmets on all of these guys, on every one of them, is going to be black. And that's to kind of match the fact that both Majima and Kiryu have black hair. So their helmets are going to be black to represent their black hair. Which is probably not going to look great, but I suppose we will see. I think in Kiryu's case, well, not in Kiryu's case, but in the case of the army guy, the foot soldiers who will have white armor, it might pull off better because it'll give a nice contrast. But for the Reavers, I think they're called, not the Reavers, I don't remember. They're going to look a little silly. Or a little monotone, I guess. Which I suppose will be fine. Got it there, 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 got it there. Yep, it looks like I got it on all of them. That's okay, that's cool. I got it on his arm. I missed this arm. Oh, it's because he doesn't have one on that arm. It's only on that arm. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna grab you. This neat little number. And it looks like there's actually a gemstone on your shoulder. I don't think there's been one in any of the other pauldrons. So it's kind of cool that you get one. Because, again, every one of you guys is unique, and you're all super neat that way. I did also like the ability to paint, design, build half of them as female. Because having representation in the, or at least female presenting. There we go. That's the right word for it. Oh boy, it's this stinky song. So there's a boss fight in Like a Dragon, and I was not expecting the song to go so hard, and I also wasn't expecting the song to have the drop you're about to hear. That part of the song is just so stinky to me. I don't know if that's even the right word, but to me it reads as stinky, and I really like it. Okay, I don't know if that's one, but it's going to become one. And I think that means this one is done as well. Okay. Moving back to the others, because I don't think I've shown much of the other ones yet, so you guys haven't seen too much of what the ground troops look like. And so we're going to pull one of these guys up. Here's one of the Aeldari ground troops, one of the Corsairs. And from the looks of it, they are very pale and washed out by the light, and that's fine. Because I'm going to add as many little accoutrements to try and make it so that their color scheme is a little bit more balanced. Like right here, they're going to get this dark blue to start off their gemstone coloring. And like I said, we're going to build up to a much brighter one, so this is going to be very striking by the end of it if I do everything right. Okay, same with you. You've got this beautiful gem on your shoulder strap. That's going to be dark blue for a minute, and then we're going to build it back up. And I don't think you... Oh, no, you do. You got one on your arm. So we're going to go ahead and put that there, too. There we go. And one on the weapon as well. And I'm beginning to wonder, should I also make their weapons black so it matches up better with Sky Reavers? Because I think the answer is going to be yes. I think I'm going to want to make their weapons black so that all their weapons match up. And again, it'll also provide a nice striking contrast to my accidentally very well made, very well shaded white armored guys. So that'll be a thing I'll get to later. I think their leather straps are also going to be black. Again, for the contrast. I also think, depending on how I feel, I might have to stop the stream early because I am rapidly fading. And I am rapidly having a harder time just kind of staying awake. I am a very sleepy man. I'm a very sleepy frog. It shouldn't be able to play this. It just played this. I know it didn't go through the entirety of my shuffle list. But yeah, I think what's going to happen is all of these gemstones and whatnot, they're going to... Or not the gemstones, all of the weapons are going to be black. To kind of provide some contrast against the white of the rest of the armor. Give me a second, let me swap this song out, because this is the song that played when I first turned on the stream. Nope. That's fine. That's okay. I don't care too much. Okay, so that's gonna go there. I might have to get more blue out because it looks like I'm starting to run low on my paint palette. Okay. There we go. And again, the small, precise nature of this brush is saving my bacon and making my painting look a lot more accurate than it is. Because it has not been. I've been kind of struggling, and that's fine. Not every day has to be a perfect day, just as long as you try, right? I am kind of tickled at how many less gemstones these guys have. They have the one on their belts, and then they've got the one on their swords, and that's kind of it. They don't have a whole lot decorating the rest of their stuff, I say, as I find one on their holsters. I think the holsters are going to also be a black leather. They're going to have a lot of black to accent their white. But yeah, I do kind of love how striking the red is against the white on them. I think it looks really good. I'm pretty jazzed about that. Okay. Yep, this will just go like this. And one more right here. That's good. Okay. I guess I'll consider it a good thing that they're coming off as slightly blue in the camera capture, because that was what I was going for, was a cooler white, so that it didn't read as just like too flat. So I'm pretty jazzed with the fact that it is coming through as like a cooler white, and that it does have that appearance about it. Because, you know, when you're too stuck into it, and when you're too close to the project, everything starts looking wrong, and that's kind of where I am mentally right now. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to clean my palette a little bit, and then I'm going to fresh my blue, because I think I'm basically out on the palette. See, this is where, again, I am a naughty boy. I do not clean my palette well. Normally, just kind of use a larger brush and I mop up as much of the paint as I can, and I just kind of let it dry. And you know, palette paper is stupid inexpensive, so it's not like I should be really trying to reuse this stuff, but I'm also an exceptionally lazy human being who doesn't want to change his palette paper, because that takes time and effort. Okay, so there we go. And that should do it for that. There we go. And now I can get some more blue, and I can continue doing what I was doing. You're not blue, you're black. You're coal black, so let's get the blue back out. We're gonna mix in some of that. Put it on the palette paper. So one thing I read that I thought was kind of fascinating was that apparently Pro-Acryl does not want you using a wet palette, and that their paints belong on a dry palette because the wet palette will just water it down too much. And given how much I've used Pro-Acryl, I guess I understand where they're coming from, but I don't like it. I think the wet palette does a really good job of keeping everything how it's supposed to be. Okay, you've got gems up the wazoo, so we're gonna have a lot of very little things to do with you. You got one on your gun, you're holding on to a whole bunch of them, you've got one on your chest, you've got one on your belt, you've got a lot of these gems. You're holding a big old one right here. Okay, hit that. But yeah, I've been kind of keeping up with the Warhammer news in terms of the new rules changes, and I do think they're pretty good. I think Games Workshop is trying to do things to make the game easier to play, to make the game go a little more smoothly. I think the biggest issue is just that the core gameplay is so very slow and so very complex, and until they fix that major aspect of it, they're always going to have a game that feels like a slog to play through. Because I admit I have not played many Warhammer games. I think I've played less than 20 total, but every time I've played, it has felt like an absolute slog to get through. So I do like some of the new terrain rules they have. I do think some of the new melee rules are going to be interesting. Wow, you really do have an incredible amount of these. This is bringing flashbacks to when I painted the Incarn, because that thing just had a ridiculous amount of gems. But I just kind of feel like until they fix one of the major conceits of the game, which is just that I go, you go, the game is just going to feel painfully slow every time, because there's just way too much waiting. Another banger of a song. Just big and angry and chunky. Okay, I think that's going to be good for like all of the bits that she has. Okay, let's go ahead and do the leader of this little group. So I think these also could be a kill team, and I'm pretty sure that because of how the upgrade screw came, there was no way to kind of paint or like sell them without the upgrade sprue. So while you might not get the data cards or anything, you can still get the Corsair Void Reavers kill team, which I honestly kind of want to do, because I think they're really cool models, and having the kill team version of them feels like it would be a good thing. And so I kind of want that. Though I don't really play kill team, what it's kind of becomes my friends and I, we play one-page rules Grimdark Future Firefight, which is basically like a really simplified down version of Kill Team that in general feels better to play, because we are not super interested in learning the rules that way. Okay, you have far less gemstones on you. You just happen to look really cool. So we're gonna put Mr. Bannerman back. I think I'm going to try and be wild and put like the Tojo crest or something on there. Though, admittedly, I am not very good of an artist when it comes to like actual traditional pictures. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, you have a hidden gem that I'm going to try. Just, oh, okay, good. Gem got, hooray, A+. And now we're gonna hit that one. And once again, I think that's it. They've got a lot of indentations on them. Hey, Sindarius, how's it going? Good to see you. How's your day been? I'm sorry you couldn't raid me last time, but like I think I got tired and I just hopped off stream. So that's what happened last time. And tonight I'm exhausted. I'm painting because I said I would this week, but I've been up since yesterday. I woke up at 2:45 a.m. and worked until like 8 o'clock in the evening, and then kind of did the whole thing. Did like a normal work day today, but it's really starting to drag on me how little sleep I've gotten. So if I sound a little out of it, that's entirely why. I hope, Sindarius, you are doing well, and I hope that you have had very fun streams, and I hope that things are going well for you. Doing alright, just got back from having dinner for your birthday. Congratulations, happy birthday. What kind of dinner did you get? What kind of fun food did you happen to get for dinner? Just recently, like a year or two ago, a Korean barbecue restaurant, not a Korean barbecue, a Korean hot pot restaurant, a Korean hot pot and barbecue restaurant opened up, like, not 5 minutes. Buffalo chicken sandwich, that sounds delicious. I had chili dogs for dinner, and they were homemade. No, they weren't, that's a lie, but they were very good. Buffalo chicken sandwich sounds like a really good time. I haven't had good buffalo chicken in a while. And with like lettuce and cheese and tomato, sounds like a really good combination of things. But anyway, yeah, sorry, I kind of spaced out there. Yeah, there's a Korean hot pot / barbecue place near where I live. But it's really expensive, which is kind of a deterrent because we don't have a whole lot of money. But we also found out that the owner's a friggin' racist. Oh, okay, home assembled is perfectly fine too. That sounds delicious as well. I hope it was a tasty enough buffalo chicken sandwich to be worthy of being your birthday dinner. But yeah, we found out that she was really friggin' racist, and it made us not want to go there. So we haven't been back in a while, but I do know that I wanted to go there for my birthday. And we're gonna have to find somewhere else. And that's okay. There are plenty of lovely restaurants in the area that are not run by racists. And getting good Korean barbecue is not important enough to give money to a racist. Okay, so that looks pretty good there, I think. All I'm doing right now is I'm very slowly and methodically making my way through this paint, through these this combat patrol, because I'm really not sure what I want to do with them. Like, I have some clue, but it's like they're not coming together yet, and they will eventually. And when they come together, they're gonna look great. But until then, they're gonna be in this weird half-finished phase, and hopefully I'll be able to hit that inspiration and get them looking really good. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you've posted stuff in chat or in on the Discord of what you've been working on recently. You've been having a good time. I haven't streamed too much this week. Too busy building models. So what have you been building? Again, you've probably already shown it off, but no sleep. Exceptionally tired. Not braining too well. So having a refresher to hear about what you've been doing seems like a really good idea right now, as I try and remember things. Okay, I don't know. There's a lot of trim on these that I'm not sure I'm going to go. Probably just a regular metal. He doesn't have a whole lot of gemstones on him, so he's not going to get much. He's already got those. So I'm actually almost done with that, which means I can move over to the lighter blue and really give these a nice accent. And that's going to be good. This is another song that I'm pretty sure has... has this one played yet? It doesn't matter. I have like 2.5 hours of songs to stream from the Yakuza series and the Like a Dragon series, and it feels like I'm hearing a couple of the same ones, and it's kind of irking me a bit, but it's not that big a deal because it's all good music. I'll have to clean this up later. Don't like how that turned out. Okay, so again, not very many gemstones on these guys. There seem to be more on the I say as I look at their rosters. There seem to have been more on the raiders. Oh, and the jetpack guys. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and paint in these gemstones. If these even are gemstones. They probably aren't. The more I look at them, the more... Nope, they are gemstones. Okay. I was gonna say, the more they look like just part of the leather, but... Nope, that's a gemstone, alright. I don't know, Cindarius, you probably know a little more about the Eldar than I do. Why do they wear... Are these soul stones? And if they're wearing soul stone... If they are soul stones, why are they wearing them all over themselves? Because it feels very silly to wear soul stones, knowing that they're supposed to have, like, your dead relatives or something. Okay. You're almost done with a Lehman Russ, kit bashing 5 Chimeras and a Centurion from the Saturnine box, and just about done with 3 Saturnine Termies. You'll have 20 Mark II Crusade Marines. You have a lot of stuff on your plate. That's a lot of work. That's a lot more work than I have. I finished an Imperial Fist combat patrol, and I did one more squad of regular Terminators and one more squad of Assault Terminators, and I think they turned out pretty good. I posted them in the Discord as I finish them. And at some point I will play an Imperial Fist Warhammer again. Today is not that day. But I am quite pleased with just the critical mass of Terminators that I'm starting to amass. Critical mass, amass. I am so tired. Okay, so get all the water out of that. Okay. Some of them had dead relatives, and catch your soul when you die, and since all Aeldari are psychos, and people love to commune with their dead relatives too. That's fair. See, I forgot about that. It just feels funny to me, because it's like, you have a whole bunch of dead relatives, and so instead of protecting their soul stones, you're gonna wear them to protect you from bullets. You know? It'd be like if you strapped Grandma's ashes to your chest as you were going out to fight. Except if it got damaged, then Grandma was going to hell. I think. I don't know. I don't know enough about Aeldari lore. I'm probably looking at it the wrong way, but that's just always how it read to me based on the little bit I knew about their lore. I always thought it was one of those things where they really wanted to take care of them and protect them. And so to me, wearing them as part of their armor just feels like the exact opposite of that. But thank you for that enlightening answer. And you're probably... Oh, yes. The beat goes on. I love this song. This was the Yakuza 1 fight theme. And they remastered... They did, like, a remix of it, or whatever, for Yakuza Kiwami 1. And I never liked it, and I always thought it was dumb-sounding. And then I heard this version in Like a Dragon 8, Infinite Wealth. And I was like, oh my god, they remixed it, and this version sounds so much better. And then when I was looking to download it, I found out, no, this isn't the remix, this is the original. The one in the Kiwami game is the remix. And I realized, oh, the Kiwami one just sucks. Because this song's freaking awesome. And I feel like Yakuza Kiwami does a lot to, like, ruin some of the groovier parts of it. You're not exactly a lore expert in Aeldari. I personally don't like Aeldari legends because I feel they're unreasonably cocky, especially after creating Slaanesh. Well, I mean, if you look at any group that used to be really good at something, they have the hardest time, you know, admitting that they're not all that anymore. And their thing is that they feel like they know how to stop this from happening again now that they've done it once. And they're dealing with what essentially amounts to, like, a violent cokehead with very powerful guns who won't listen to them. So I can definitely get it, and plus everything's exaggerated to the nth degree because it has to be. But yeah, it's just like, you know, they're a country, like I think I kind of think of it as with America as an example, just because I'm American, and it's just like America thinks that it still knows how to do everything, and it's the benevolent leader, and everyone should listen to it. And it's like, America, you're psychos. I think I need you to stay away from me because the way you have been managing things since your zenith has been really bad, and we don't want to listen to you anymore. And America's just like, well, you're just a bunch of uncivilized savages, and you're wrong. And I hate that. And especially with like sports franchises. Is another example is like, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, which means I'm also less of a human. Yeah, America, you've been making knife missiles, please calm down. Exactly. And America's all like, yeah, no, we're the best and we know what we're doing. It's like, no, America, you really don't. You really don't, and it's okay that you don't, but just, you need to stop acting like you do, so please calm down. So while the Eldar are incredibly boorish and kind of awful to have to listen to, I definitely understand why they are the way they are, you know what I mean? Like, they were the greatest civilization for a very long time, and then they did the biggest oopsie, and then most of them regret it because they're alive to regret it, and they're like, guys, we know how to fix the oopsie. And everyone's just like, hey, look, an oopsie, let's make another one. Oh yes, I love this song. I've been playing a lot of Yakuza. I have played all of the Yakuza. I have legitimately, I think since the last time I was regularly streaming, I played every one of the Yakuza. And I have fallen in love with the Yakuza games, if you cannot tell by my music selection. And this song is one of my favorite fighty songs, because they have like a bunch of really good fighty songs. And I just think this one builds into something that's so very good. And I love this fighty song. It also was a really cool moment because it was the reintroduction of a character that is very popular, but they're kind of absent from most of this specific game. It's always the Drukhari dragging him down for all the Slaanesh reasons. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that you have a whole bunch of... And that's kind of why I kind of really like Warhammer beyond the memes and whatnot, is that Warhammer does a really good job of exploring a bunch of different, very powerful, very proud people, and how they deal with not being powerful and proud. You know what I mean? Because, like, the Eldar had so many ways they could have gone after accidentally birthing the goddess, the god of excess. And you get to see how they've all dealt with it, and some of them have definitely handled it better than others. And it's just like real life, because they scream a faction that wrote just for the sake of being evil. Yeah, I mean, I think all of them kind of do that, though, right? Because any of the ones that they... Well, I mean, also, if you think about it, they're kind of similar to followers of Lolth from Dungeons and Dragons, because Dark Elves, if I remember right, Dark Elves aren't inherently evil. It's that their goddess, Lolth, rewards backstabbing and betrayal and cruelty. And so it encourages them as a culture to be evil. And I don't know how much of that is a retcon, because for the longest time it was just like, no, we're big damn heroes, and we're going to take out big evil villains, and they're going to be irredeemable, because I don't want a conflicted game. I don't want to have to think about the morality of what I'm doing. They are unequivocally bad, and so killing them is the right option. And I definitely get that style of play, because, you know, depending on your interest with your Dungeons and Dragonsing, you don't want to have to think about the other side having a civilization and having families and that kind of thing. And that's perfectly fine. Because you don't want you want to have enemies that you don't feel bad about killing. You know what I mean? Because if every enemy has some kind of moral fiber to them, then now every fight is a much deeper conflict than you may be interested in playing. And so the Drukhari are that, because they have decided that the best way to deal with Slaanesh is to, instead of fess up and realize they've done a bad, is to save themselves and be selfish and continue doing a bad, And I think that that's a very fascinating way to try and live it, but it also makes them so very killable. Like, in Rogue Trader, I will not lie, I am very proud of the fact that I am such a pathetic goody-goody that I have yet to go through a playthrough in which, my god, I can't even remember the goober's name. The Drukhari companion you can get. He never makes it off of Kamara. I tend to kill him as soon as I can because I really hate that character. And I guess for some you're supposed to. Because yeah, he antagonizes you for an entire chapter. He betrays various characters. He gets various characters killed. He attacks one of your protectorates and murders and slaughters a bunch of civilians. It's all a bad time. And then he's like so delightfully evil about it, which makes him a great villain, where he's just kind of lounging on your throne and being like, look at me, I'm a big evil guy, and I hate you, so bleh. And then it's like, I'm not going to let you live. And some people do, because they like how scrungly and mischievous his evil is. But that's just not me. I'm too much of a goody-goody. I'm one of those self-righteous people who think that they have moral justification, so I always blow his brains out as soon as I can. Or, like, I give him the hope that he's going to escape with me. And then it's like, nope, I just wanted to get you alone so all 8 of my companions can blow your brains out. And then when he gets mad and is like, how could you betray me? It's like, that's your whole thing, you pansy ass. You spent this entire game being duplicitous, and now you're upset that it happens to you? That's the kind of vindication I want. So yeah, the Drukhari are kind of like the Night Lords in that they're very much just unabashedly evil. And the Night Lords kind of have justification for it, but at the same time they kind of don't. And that's what makes them so fascinating. Again, they've created a lot of very fun, like, moral issues with the characters and their factions. And I love that it can be played in so many different ways in the Warhammer. And that it can be explored in so many different ways. Okay, so I can't see what I'm doing there, but I think that looks good. And so I don't even know if this is showing up too well, but I'm trying to create like an under. How can I trust someone who calls himself the Deceiver, right? Yeah, it's just a lot of that, and I don't know. It's something I just really like about 40k, is that no one is good. Everyone's pretty crappy. You might find personal stories of people who aren't pretty crappy, but by and large, grand majority of them, pretty crappy. And so you don't have to feel bad about gunning them down and killing them. And like, I remember I was playing the earlier version of Kill Team with my coworker friend, and they were the one who got me into 40k. And I had a Sisters of Battle squad that I was using for Kill Team. Hey, whatever your name is, defensible blow up boy, how about you get fucked? I don't want to pin this message. How do I get rid of this message? I'm going to click on your name, and I'm going to do the opposite of giving you a sub. I'm going to ban you. Goodbye. And how do I get rid of this? I don't want this anymore. Go away. Goodbye. You're going to go. I'm going to hop on your PC. Okay, cool. Have fun with that. Stupid spam. My goal is to not get views. My goal is to put something up that people can vibe with and chill with and enjoy having conversation with. I wish I could have told. I wish I told them that. I wasn't really looking to view more pictures because I'm too tired. Okay, so let's go ahead and another great song. This is like the first big boss music of Yakuza 0. Like, they have the music for when you fight Kuze, which is one of my favorite songs, period. But then they have this for when you're fighting bosses, and I think it's such a good, like, just driving, you know, this is a serious fight moment. It's too bad the Yakuza combat system can't live up to how good some of their music and setups are. because they have some really cool setups. And like this song's got like big fight feel written all over it. But then you do the fight and it doesn't quite live up to the oomph of the song. But that's okay. Okay, you only have 2, I think. And brighten these up has already helped out quite a bit with the overall appearance of them. So there we go. Okay, same thing. I just need a little bit of a, there it is, and a little bit. I'll have to cover some of that up with white. Now, the gems on this guy are very tiny. That's okay. He got sword. That's right, he has a power sword because he's supposed to be the leader of the Void Reaver squad that I've got going on. I have no idea what color I'm going to make that. Or probably make it black. I think in the case for these guys, it's going to be white and black because it's Kiryu's hair. That'll work fine. And let's see, can I go ahead and scooch that down? Get a little bit more on there to get a little more color. A little more on there to get a little more color. There we go. There we go. On to the guys up front. Yeah, the frontliners really don't have a whole lot of these gemstones as compared to the swoopy dudes. Let's see, get a little bit on their blades. And yeah, he's got like no other ones. And yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, is a lot of these extra bits are going to be black, and that's really going to make the white armor pop more underneath it. And that'll be fine. Gosh, I'm so tired that I almost freaked out because I saw movement out of the corner of my eye, and it was the camera. My goodness. Okay, got that nice blue gem under there. Then you get the nice gem right here. There we go. Yeah, those blue gems are going to look really good once I actually start getting the highlights in, which will be the next round. I am not a fan of batch painting. Hey, Zendarius, welcome back. If I can request you to limit the number of pictures that you send out, because I'm so freaking tired, I can barely navigate stuff. I will definitely enjoy seeing any pictures that you would like to set up in the Whoozits, but not too many, please, because I don't have the mental capacity to organize a whole bunch of them. I'm very tired. I was actually, funnily enough, I was actually about to hop off when you hopped on, because apparently that's just how I roll. But then you hopped on, and then we had a wonderful conversation about the Eldar and the meaning of like evil characters. And now it's, you send on to two. I appreciate it. After you send those two, you can send a whole bunch more if you'd like to the showcase, because that's what the showcase is for. And that way we can still admire all the cool shit you've done. I just won't feel obligated to put it on the stream. And if anyone who is watching the stream, whether it be through VOD or currently, wants to see them, then they should join my Discord, who I think I have a link for in my on my Twitch page. And if I don't, then I guess you'll have to show up next time and ask to get into the Discord, and I will refresh the link. But today, that is not going to happen. Today is going to be sleepy time. But yeah, the switch over to this lighter blue, well, not the switch over, but using this lighter blue is really helping quite a bit with making these characters pop a little bit, and I'm pretty darn happy with how that's turning out. So, bully to me for having the good idea of giving them these light blue gems that are really making them pop. There we go. Very good. Genius move. Genius. Okay. I think I got one more, and I think they got all the crystals in the world, so that's going to be the last big one. Yeah, she's got 1 million of these crystals, so we're going to have some fun lighting her up just a little bit. What's probably going to happen is when I'm more awake tomorrow, is I'm probably going to look at all of these and be like, oh my god, you have painted all of these incorrectly. They are all, you know, not in the lines, and they all look very bad. You should do them over again. Of course, that's also just me being hard on myself. It's probably all fine. No, I don't know. No one will know. Only like 3 people watch these, so no one's going to see it in real life. And no one will know. Yeah, see, look at that. That's bloody beautiful. I love it. I love it. This lady, she has all the gems. So this was definitely one of those cases where figuring out like how light travels through glass was really helpful with kind of figuring out where to shine the gem light. And I think that's yeah, you'll know. And then you're going to tell everyone. You got your own stream and you're going to be like, guess what Benry Paints did? And then everyone on your stream is going to be like, who the hell is Benry Paints? And why do we care? And I will laugh. Okay, so I think, yeah, that does it. That makes them all look very bright, and that looks fantastic. I wish you could see it really well, but I need to fix the camera for next time, so I'll do that next time. What I am going to do is once you give me the okay, I will go ahead and take a look at those things that you posted. But until then, I think I'm going to continue painting this little lady, because I printed her. And I need to finish painting her at least a little bit. There's something about human characters that makes me so very happy. Because Warhammer is this incredible world of superhumans. And so having characters that are not superhuman, trying to survive and struggle and live amongst them, fascinates me. What would also fascinate me is if I manage to keep her on this popsicle stick, because she is wiggling and waving in a very perilous manner, and it's scaring me right now. I just realized you're recording a vid, you scream. Oh no, don't do that. That's okay. For a little while I thought I was recording the stream too, instead of streaming, until people started finally popping in, and it was like, oh okay, I haven't lost my mind. Yeah, she's not on this very well. Oh no, she's on this better than I thought she was. Okay. It makes me feel a little better. Now, if I remember right, this awesome lady is supposed to have like a dark blue coat. And I'm starting with that just to kind of have something. But I'm really not sure what other colors I want her to be. I do know that, like, between her and that one Commissar Graves on her truck, I really want to collect Imperial Guard. I want to collect Imperial Guard and have them led by these awesome ladies. And actually, I kind of just want to make this one a rogue trader. Because, like, even though she's very much not a rogue trader, this one is very much definitely a Chaos-aligned character. She looks like a rogue trader, and the ideas of rogue traders are very cool. And so I think I just might make her a rogue trader and have like an entourage. And that would be fun. Because I kind of want to do like an Imperial Agents army. Because no one does Imperial Agents armies, and just make it like completely flavor and not at all good. And so like having a rogue trader that's being flanked by Terminators and Navy Breachers and the like, that seems like a good time to me. And I know, once again, they'd be utter garbage on the tabletop, but they would look cool. She does. I'm not sure if you... Oh, gosh darn it, I didn't... I'm not sure if you remember which model this is, but she is most definitely not a rogue trader. She is a Chaos-aligned... I don't remember, not Commodore. She's one of those. She's a rogue robe alongside Huron Blackheart and his motley crew of evil ne'er-do-wells and red corsairs. She's one of the ones that comes with... Oh, okay, you do know who she is. Very cool. So yeah, I love this model. I love the fact that that I didn't have to pay for this model. And that if I really wanted to, I could print it again. I will eventually buy the real model because I like it that much. But I'm just happy that for right now, that's not something I had to worry about. Human servant. I think servant, I guess. Because she has her own ship. And she commands her own ship. And I guess technically, yeah, she is a servant. But I guess also she doesn't think she's a servant. I haven't read much up on her backstory. But I kind of figured it was one of those things where it's like, I am my own master, except she does everything that Huron Blackheart wants her to do. Okay, so you posted the pictures. I will be at them in a second. I just loaded up my brush. So, if you just give me a moment, I will finish highlighting this lady's awesome robes. And then I will take a look at these pictures that you have sent. Okay, come on. That's fine. Let's go ahead and look at these awesome pictures you have sent. What you got over here? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hell's March intensifies. You know what I'm talking about. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. You know what song that is, right? You've played Command & Conquer the Lehman Russ. You're gonna build to be a tank commander holding a Creed banner at the top patch. That's very friggin' cool. You know the song Hell's March from Command & Conquer Red Alert, right? That's all I ever think of when I see like awesome. Yeah, there they are. Awesome tanks. I just think of that song. Do I have that song somewhere? Okay, let me check, because I could have sworn that I have that song. And it's such a good, just like, military song. There it is. I do have it. You've not played it, but you know it. Okay, yeah. We're gonna play Hell March. Where did I put it? There we go. So that's all I think of when I see this stuff. Just like these really freaking cool dudes. These tanks, and they're just in lines. I think it's also because I saw an Instagram video someone took of a bunch of Krieg that were all in lockstep. Not Krieg, Acadians that were in lockstep formation. Because they had like 100 deep just in formation. I think it was from a thing in Warhammer World. So as you can see, I built 2 to have cannons up front, 3 to have auto cannons, 1 to be magnetized parts of the Forest Heresy Predator tanks. That's so freaking cool, dude. I love it. I'm probably not gonna buy the models because they're so expensive, but I am almost definitely gonna make a proxy to Imperial Guard army. Or at the very least, a Rogue Trader army with some Imperial Guard bits. Yeah, this is a good song. Oh, this is going back down because that's gonna be way too loud when I put the other stuff on. I think I had it. There it was. And we're going to go ahead and hop off of this song. I'm going to hop out of this song. But yeah, that's friggin' neato. I can't wait to see that tank commander. I love tank commanders. They're really cool. Close that out. Close that out. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit more work on her, and then I think I am, actually. For one of the Chimeras, you'll have a medical vehicle, heavy support, and various roles. So you've put a lot of thought into this, which is kind of what you want to do and what you would hope you would do. Because that's a lot of it. That's a lot of money and time to invest in building something and not to put a lot of thought in it. So, good on you for doing so. Okay, so that's going to go... And then we're just going to get a little bit more. Yeah, I will be honest. This is exactly why I bought this. Is my head in the way? My head was in the way, darn it. This is why I bought this this specific brush, was so I could do smaller highlight bits like this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reorganize, realign my camera, because if I want to get to any kind of detail, I basically have to accidentally block off. You're focusing on guard all next edition for you want to look amazing before they deploy them. That sounds like it's going to be an interesting a thing to try and hold up, and I hope that you succeed. I've been kind of bouncing back and forth, and I feel bad. If 11th edition ends up playing a little better than 10th, I might dive into 11th edition a little more fully, because there is a very healthy Warhammer community in my area, and I think at this point I have enough Imperial Fists that I could play them pretty comfortably through an entire edition. Though admittedly I might... see, that's the problem, is I'm really indecisive. I want to have all my toys to play with them too. So, like, I see the Imperial Fist, and it's like, I want to play Imperial Fist, and then it's like, well, I don't actually get to play much. So if I wanted to play another army, I wouldn't, and I'll just play Imperial Fists. But then it's like, maybe you should play more of your armies, because, like, I have a Death Guard army. You might play a little bit of other factions, but you want to become a good Guard commander. That sounds like a very admirable goal to have, because it gives you, like, a really strict goal throughout the entire edition. And like I just said, I hope it goes well for you. I hope you're able to come up with some really good stuff from that. Okay. So I don't know how much the blue highlights are showing up on her, but I think she's turning out pretty okay. We're going to go ahead and go down a little bit and do a little bit of it going up like so and thinning out as it goes higher up. So I will be honest, this song's another boss song. It's another boss fight, and it's one of those things where I felt like Infinite Wealth was kind of losing the plot, because they built this guy up to be a big bad, and then they reveal he's not really a big bad, and then they reveal that he's being coerced, and then he gets killed while the leverage they're using to coerce him is still hanging out there. So it's just like, okay, I think you tried to cook with too many ingredients and you lost the plot. And that's just kind of how a lot of Yakuza, or I mean, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth felt, is just like consistently and constantly losing the plot because they were overambitious with parts of the story. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make this stuff a little bit brighter. But yeah, right now I've almost got enough to play a Sister's Army. I've got enough to play Death Guard, who I have been interested in playing, but I kind of want to move away from playing Space Marine variants because it feels like all I have are Space Marines and Space Marine variants. And so I've been debating, like, what do I want my next army to be? And for a little while I was thinking Orcs, and I still am thinking Orcs. So I might follow through and finally make my my fanboys Orc warband and see how that turns out, because I've been doing it in fits and spurts, and so I have some Orc models that were just things I liked, and I have some stuff that is proxied, but I feel like if I really wanted to put my mind to it, I could go ahead and make a pretty decent Orc army and at least have some fun playing that and kind of making that my my army for an edition or something like what you're doing. I don't know. It's something I will figure out as I get closer to it. Okay, with that being said, I think this turned out okay. So I think I'm going to be done for now. I think it's time for me to turn in. It's 9:20. It actually is time for me to turn in. So I think I got a lot done. It didn't end up being as impactful as I hoped it would be, but I think I got a lot done. I think these guys are starting to look a lot more unified, and I think between the gemstones and the purple, it is making them look a lot better than they did when I picked them up at the beginning of stream. And I think that having to mess around with these guys and kind of see what they look like and really take a look at them is helping me as well, because it's giving me it's crystallizing my ideas for them. So I think that's going to be it. I know there's only like 1 or 2 of you in here, but we're going to go ahead and raid Lotus K, because I think Lotus K is still streaming. So we're going to raid her. Yep, we're going to raid Lotus K. And they're streaming, and they're painting a beautiful model. And we're going to do that. So there we go, raiding Lotus K. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm sorry that I was delirious, but hopefully next week I'll be better. And I suppose I will see you all then. Okie dokie. Goodbye.